Assessing and teaching reading through phonological awareness, phonics, and word recognition. Janessa and I wanted to focus on assessing and teaching reading because as classroom teachers, we want to make sure we can strengthen our students' literacy as the best we can so they can become efficient and effective readers. Through our research, we were continually reminded about the importance of assessing and adjusting our curriculum to meet our students' needs. We wanted to begin with the link between the importance of assessment and instruction, or assessment and teaching. And one thing that we were both really inspired by through our research was the opportunity to think and reflectively create opportunities for us to pause before we began really making changes in our classrooms. So today we wanted to start with a short quiz. And the idea of this was taken from Pearson's Ames Web Plus. And it was a quiz about the idea of how often and how do we adjust our assessments in order to affect our students' teaching and curriculum, and what are ways that we can get better. So before we really jump into our research, we wanted to start with these questions, and we will end with these questions as well. So the first question, we want you to sit for a second and think through it, and really take that opportunity to reflect on it. So how often do you measure overall student performance relative to grade level and year-end expectations throughout the school year? Our second question, how quickly can your teachers, or if you're a classroom teacher, how quickly can you apply insights from assessments to students' instructional plans? Question number 3, do you have a multi-tiered system for support and intervention? Question number 4, how consistently do you monitor progress through assessments of students who need the most support? And question number 5, do your benchmarking assessments indicate progress towards end of the year goals? So our goal is really to think about these questions as we start to share our research in order for you to be very reflective throughout the process. If you would like to take the whole quiz, which is a quiz on Pearson's Ames Web, you may click the button that says click here. So we start sharing our research about phonological awareness. And phonological awareness is a space of phonemic awareness. It really thinks about all of the sounds that are combined into a word. Phonological awareness looks at the child's ability to identify and manipulate or sound out different parts of oral language. So for example, looking at oral language, there are different ways that students can break apart words, looking at segmenting or things like phonemes. When we think about phonological awareness, we're thinking about how a child can break apart words. For example, if a child was looking at the word mat, we know that there has 3 phonemes of a, t. And when there are these different kinds of phonemes, it's really hard because there are 44 different types of phonemes in the English language, because there are many digraphs like or digraph blends like b, u, for blend. When we look at phonemic awareness and phonological awareness, it's a really important part of reading instruction because it determines the student's ability to move on. What children are moving on from is the last step and final step of phonemic awareness, and that is phonics. Phonics is the final stage and includes a child's ability to isolate these individual phonemes, just like we shared before, of a, t for mat. This foundational space is very important not only for spelling, but also word recognition. There are many different ways you can assess different types of phonemical awareness and phonics, which we'll share in a little bit. But we want to take a deep dive into one specific assessment, the Yap Singer. The Yap Singer The Yap Singer is an assessment tool that parents and teachers can use to see the strengths and weaknesses of their child's phonemical awareness. So, we're going to ask you to play this video and to think a little bit about what can you as an educator do with the tools from a assessment like Yap Singer. If you'd like, you can read along with the transcript to the video. If you would like to do that, you may press click here. While you're watching the video, please take a second to look at the reflection questions, and we're going to think specifically about one of those reflection questions at the end of the video. Enjoy. Now that we've learned a little bit more about different kinds of assessments for phonological and phonics, we wanted to look at word recognition. Word recognition is a student or a child or an adult being able to recognize written words with a quick glance. In your classrooms, these may look like high-frequency sight words, or what we call in my school, popcorn words, because they pop up often. Word recognition is an important aspect for elementary schools and elementary school teachers and for our students. We also have to note that in early childhood classrooms, word recognition is very similar to letter recognition. In the picture over on the bottom of the screen, you can see two of my students, Theo and Ilana, playing a letter recognition game in our kindergarten class in the first couple weeks of school. We're playing a lowercase letter game with the letters B and D. And the reason is because lowercase b and d are difficult to tell apart. And this idea of looking at a quick glance for letter recognition is important to practice. There are many different ways that you can use formative and summative assessments for word recognition, and these are just a few ideas. The word recognition test is the ability to read these words accurately when they're not supported in reading a passage. So this might be a tool for you to see if your students can or have a high percentage or a high ability of word recognition. There are many teaching strategies for word recognition. Reading Rocket has an article about types of informal classroom-based assessments, and this article shares a lot of different important ways to see if your students can have these word recognition abilities. So ways that you can identify or even practice inside your classroom are opportunities to practice word recognition, introducing new sound letter relations, or looking at word parts mixed into a word. Opportunities to use word order or syntax, or word meaning like semantics to confirm words identified.